So there was definitely back then. It was not as we see today, where there's sort of a apartheid form of Islam, where there's the separate but equal, and it was not like that. The women prayed behind the men, as you see in this class. Women are behind the men because they're part of a jama'ah, they're part of a community, and by relegating and taking them from that position, it's produced some of the side effects we see. We have so many examples of female scholars. I mean, the third volume of Suhab al-Wabila, I've thought about numerous times about just translating that, just for putting it out there to break some of the strange ideas that we have. Right? You had another question though?
The last one, it potentially a bit of a long sort of answer, but if you want to answer later on, it's all right. Just something you mentioned right at the beginning. Do you know regarding permissibility of reading in a place where the income of the place isn't?
Reading in a place?
No. Do you remember you talked about Nizam?
The Nizamiya, yeah, that's right. That's right.
You dropped on to mention that the ulama didn't pray there.
That's correct.
What about a place that's been brought possibly with a mortgage?
All right. Alhamdulillah. Salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Question is regarding a place that's been bought with a mortgage. Does it fall under the same hukm as the Nizamiya, where the ulama refuse to pray there? Yes. 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 It does, because riba is a form of bay'ul gharar, it's a form of deceptive transaction. Mortgages fall under a form of deceptive transaction. Now, there are going to be some that say, well, yes, but there's some dispute because this particular alim has mentioned this. Yes, but those are all on the panel of HSBC. No, I'm serious. If you ask them, listen, this is haram, isn't it? Oh, of course it is. Why would he say that? And he's on the panel of HSBC, he's being paid. He's a government scholar. Look at the scholars in the past when this first began to appear. What did they say? Before Shaltut, because Mahdud Shaltut was the watershed. He was the first one to give the fatwa to say it has to be done. We've got no other choice. And he bankrupted Egypt. All of the imams that studied from him in the 60s and 70s that are now the imams of the masjid here in the US and Canada studied with Shaltut. Ask them. Ask them. And they will tell you they studied with Shaltut or they studied with one of the students of Shaltut. They're all his children in a fiqhi sense. If someone is able to pray, although they may learn in that place, if someone is able to pray in some place that they're sure about, that's within the same building, okay, this is the place that was used for such and such, that's to their best option because their salah becomes in danger. Now, their learning will be valid, although it may lose some barakah, but the salah has to do with the fact that your salah will not be valid praying in a stolen or ill-gotten place. And you have to be sure. Yes?
All right, just keeping it specific to the mortgage. What if, just say, I know it's a bit of a cop-out question, but what if the mortgage is paid?
All right.
Outright, does that place still pose that?
Alhamdulillah. Salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. The question is, what if the mortgage has been paid outright? Does not the place still incur the sin, or does it not? It depends on if the people have repented. If they've repented and they've said, I made a massive mistake, this wasn't right, I should have never done this, and they've repented, then the matter is resolved. If they've completed it only because they said, well, alhamdulillah, that's over, now we can remortgage, or we can get another place. No, I'm saying this because it's a reality that's there. I don't say this in any humorous way. I'm saying it because it's a reality that's there where they said, alhamdulillah, that one's done, now we've got another one. And they remortgage or do whatever else. That's not halal for them to do that. And so it will depend upon what they've done. There are some people who sincerely did do it thinking that it was the right thing to do because their husbands berated them or nagged them into it. And the sister didn't want to sign it, but she had to, and she did. And then they finished it. She's like, okay, that's it. I'm not doing anything to do with this. I know a sister myself who she had one like this. Even though it was paid, and I told her, listen, don't have to worry about it. You've paid it, you've repented, that's it now. She said, I don't even want to look at the place. And she sold it and moved into a smaller house. Now that's a serious thing to do when you've got several children. That is taqwa. That's taqwa. And I respect that, sister. That's taqwa. Now, as for the people that did that, like I said, it depends on what they've done. If they've repented and they are sincerely sorry, alhamdulillah. If they haven't, then yes. Is there a final question? Final question. Yes, brother.
I just want to point out a typographical error for
Yes.
everybody.
Yes.
Page 5, second paragraph, second line. You mentioned the devote, sorry, he's not able to devote the majority of his time. You
Yes.
actually put down devout.
Ah, okay. All right. Yeah, that's a mistake. He was not able to devote. That's right. There's a typographical error in which I put devout instead of devote. That's right. Alhamdulillah. That's valid. That's a valid mistake to point out. So inshallah, what we will do is we will go from next week, inshallah, where we will start from 562 AH, inshallah, and to the century on. Please be sure, make dua for the slaves of Allah as we make dua for you. And remember us in your du'as, inshallah, because Allah has blessed us to know about these people that we've come to know about today. Try to be like them. Try to be brave. Try to be like them. Try to be uncompromising. Try to be unrelenting. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will help you. أقول قولي هذا استغفر الله لي ولكم أستغفر الله إن الله غفور رحيم يرحمني الرحيم. السلام عليكم.